G'day humanoids, welcome to the deep dive. 14th of June, come off a couple of big Group 1 races, lots and lots of narrative there at Eagle Farm, especially relating to one of them in particular, which we're all very excited about. I'm of course talking about Tofane. Or maybe am I talking about Brooklyn Hustle Curls? Take it away. How much do you hate the horse? It was a question. I thought it was a very valid question. How much do you hate Brooklyn Hustle?
We can't say that or we'll get taken off the air. Love the horse.
Oh. How much do you unlove Brooklyn Hustle?
Look, it's not about, it's nothing personal against the horse. If I ran into Brooklyn Hustle at the pub, I'd probably have a beer with it. But to answer the question, as 21 Savage says, a lot.
Who's 21 Savage?
You don't know that song that he sings, A Lot, featuring J. Cole? The chorus goes something like, how much money you got? A lot. How much you hate Brooklyn Hustle? A lot.
A lot.
Particularly when we were on Madame Rouge at $14 and it just peels off heels and gets to the outside, and I started to get excited, and then I seen this dirty little mongrel, flashy little...
With chompers aboard, just steering very, very articulately to the... What when they showed the head on... Did we do a stream? No, we were just on a Zoom. Yeah. We roared, madam.
Oh.
We roared. We thought, just get there. And we were worried about Odium, actually, because
we liked Odium.
Talking about Odium pre-race, and I was like, oh, please get past this horse. And then there was Craig and Brooklyn, just what looked to be a different set of grass right near the outside fence there. Too good Craig, too good Brooklyn.
According to puntingform.com, Craig got to lane 22.
Hard to do that.
He was also the only rider all day to utilise anything wider than lane 17. One ball, one coconut right there. Using Punting Form's very generous software, analytics software. Wider than lane 8, so lane 8 and wider into the straight, was 1 to 2 lengths superior to the inside 8 lanes, or inside 7 lanes, I should say.
So it's given him a bit of a lesson.
Well, I mean, how many times have we seen Brooklyn Hustle in a race where it's sort of running up backsides in Victoria?
Yeah, I think what's important though is the data says it, the eye said it, that it was no disadvantage to be back and wide at Eagle Farm, right?
Regardless of tempo.
And the horse has got there in the last 50 metres. That's why Curly's always against the horse. It was a perfect setup for this horse, and it had a really nice horse to tow it into the race, and it had an A-grade Group 1 big-time rider, and it's just got there. So, it's a beautiful horse to look at, sexy turn of foot on it, but as a betting proposition, that was its birthday.
It was also a 400-metre race.
That's the thing. The tempo, you talk at this. It's an interesting one because I don't horses for courses, obviously, but I don't see a disadvantage in a horse in a back marker on a back marker in a slow tempo race. They just get to run home faster because I haven't used any petrol to get up near the lead or within a few lengths within striking distance before they let go. And this is exactly what happened here. She's got home in negative 13.6. She went out 12.5.
It's unbelievable.
That's a length, probably a length quicker than anything else that she's done as far as get home speed, but they've gone so slow.
So if we dug up the old Valium Award, who was leading this race? Dame Giselle? T. Berry. He's won it. He's travelled north, taken the Valium Award home.
Oh, I don't know. Race 6 was pretty slow.
Yeah, and there's another great example. Race 6 was extremely slow, and Superium come from last.
Away game.
Who we were on last start, and who I tweeted is not a horse, only to have a Hawks Racing stable employee tweet back at me to say that he is, and then she gets the last laugh Saturday, and she retweeted my tweet.
So she tweeted you back before it won?
She tweeted me back 2 weeks ago when I plotted
good
the
on her.
horse.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, I give her full credit.
100%.
And then she retweeted my tweet again after it won Saturday, and I said I was right, you were wrong.
In your defence, the horses overall figures nothing. It's
the overall figures nothing.
But it's never going to be anything good when they go that slow.
So no idea what they were doing. There's some questions later on we'll probably get to about certain rides on the day and things like that. But here's another examples everywhere. If this is premeditated, this is just completely a bunch of jocks have completely misread the track, completely misread tempo, everything. Because if you're leading on a tempo like that, why aren't you rolling? Why aren't you rolling earlier in the race and just getting to the outside lane?
So the leader in this race was Away Game, yeah.
Karen McAvoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see it in the data if you got your puntingform.com.au open there at home punters. I hate it. It's rare that you'll see a leader win if it from the 1,000 home. There's a section there between the 10 and the 4 where it's slowed down.
I don't like it
because all it does is just let Willow and these types on the back markers get a little bit closer with more momentum. It happens all the time.
Correct.
If you're in play punting and you can see them slowing down there, which I don't know where you get that data from because it's just a random thing if .com puts it up or Racing Victoria in my state. But if you see the leader slowing, it's never good. They can still win and they still do, but it's more often than not they stop because the momentum horse comes with all that momentum and runs over top of them. So Away Game here's gone 11.36 from the 1,000 to the 800, then 11.84. So it's almost half a second slower.
Mm.
Whereas if you look at the other horses in the race, they've maintained more tempo, more momentum.
Indeed, they've done no work to get into the race, and then they can let down.
And you got to remember too, sometimes those sectional times might look like the winners slowed down slightly as well, but often they've gone like 4 or 5, 6 lanes sideways, not in a straight line. Anyway, there's my rant.
All right, so we've already given out the Valium Award, but let's discuss the Group 1, the Tofane or Tofane. I'm not even sure how we're meant to be pronouncing that. The Stradbroke. Let's run through the feature, girls.
Well, that was Willow again.
Yeah.
He's had a day out, hasn't he?
He certainly has. Look, I suppose
I'll start this with a question for you, girls, because on our private stream, on our Zoom call, we were all of the opinion, I think even in run, I certainly was, that Rachel King's lack of intent at the top of the straight probably gifted Tofane the race. When you look back on it now, with a sleep under your belt and the data, what are you thinking?
I think that if she had a horse that was going any good that she could follow, she might have been able to produce it. I don't know, but I can't knock it. I can't knock the ride on reflection. I did see in the stewards report the horse did come back with lacerations that looked like it had been galloped on. I don't know whether that's an issue, whether that's a thing or not. I think the horse jumped too well and she just settled too close.
Yeah, I think you might have said on the previous show, or you said it privately, that you had heard a key participant up there explain to her that you need to hold this horse up for one furlong. It's only got 1 furlong in it, and it's a dynamic turn of foot, but it's only 1 furlong. And she was there to let it go, with 400 to go, which is 2 furlongs, and she waited and waited, and Tofane, who's a big beast, was just roaring up outside her, and she can't see that either. They're going very quick.
And I think I think the key one for me on reflection is that Saturday, she settled first 4. The race went -8 to the 600. The start before, when it won a Group 1, it was last, and the race went out -1.9. She went out +4. So the difference in early speed of is around about 10 lengths quicker to the 600, and she was 4th right on that speed Saturday, where the start before she was well back off that speed, 10 lengths difference. That and being galloped on has probably taken that final 200 finishing burst, and hopefully putting to bed the myth that you've got to cuddle horses and get that cover and only produce it late. Like, it's set on a strong tempo. It's produced to win. It's got knocked off by a horse that's won an all-age stakes or something, like a proper Group 1 horse, and she just got knocked off. The horse has gone enormous, and maybe there's something to come out of that, of how to ride this horse, because this horse has been ridden stone cold sober, or stone dead, all the way back. If you go back 18 months or whatever it was, when Bailey Notiff rode it dead and got 3 months for riding it dead, because he didn't get the gap, at the Sunny Coast back when it resumed that time. You got a running and handling show.
To back up your point, it's only ever once run a bigger figure in its life than what it did on Saturday, and it's the biggest figure this preparation by almost a length. So
his figure in the Stradbroke last year was the PB.
Okay, Curls. Well, speaking of rides, can you explain to me how Nicanova ended up from gate 14, ended up rails and run and trying to hunt up the inside in the straight?
Look, the only explanation that I can come up with, and I'll never know the answer because James won't.
Did you get that from Scurry?
Yeah. It had to have been premeditated. And if it was, you've cost yourself any chance of winning.
Yeah.
The pattern was clearly established before that race.
I mean, it's only race 8 of 9, so...
So if it's premeditated, it's an error. He had a... Sectional show it. You only have to look at the sectional times, for those in that race of where the horses were coming coming wider and their last 200 metre splits compared to the horses back to the inside. Like,
might have just been a bit of a really quick car crash where the better riders were trying to get off the fence and they thought, oh shit, there's a spot there, bit of cover.
Maybe. Look, it wasn't the worst ride. It wasn't. There's a number of rides there on the day in the race that were either unlucky or whatever else. I don't know why the Harrovian was looking to go sort of settle closer to the rail and that sort of thing. I thought Bossy Erd there didn't need to be as close and didn't need to be as close to the rail. I don't ride them, so whatever. I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. That's my opinion. He's like, if I'm on the Harrovian, I'm saying it's been murdered. I'm talking through my pocket there, but look, it possibly should have won the race.
Yeah, and I think also it was a great race to watch and to bet on, and it doesn't matter. So let's not worry about it. But it's not a Group 1 race. Like a 10 is not a Group 1 figure, and that's what the winners run.
I don't know whether they can run much bigger. I went back and had a look to see over the last 5 years what the winning figures were. 10.1 is the slowest in the last 5 years. Tyre Zone went 10.9 last year. Admittedly, the previous 2 years to that, you had Santa Ana Lane and Impending winning in 12s and 12.9, but that was at Doom and over 13.50.
Yep.
And then the year before that was 11.3, and that was a horse. Can't remember his name.
Was that Under the Louvre?
Under the Louvre.
Smurden.
Yeah.
Oh, back
so
that.
Anyway.
I think no, I didn't back it. I think I was there with Ruffy King. Chris. He backed it. I think. Top of head.
So there's always I think the Queensland narrative is all about the Stradbroke as our premium race, and they want to urge a little bit better than what it is. It's a winter Group 1 that arguably the Goodwood's a better race. So the program, not too far apart and whatever else. Who cares? I don't care.
Well, speaking of premium races, what about the Q22? It was a Group 2, but Zaaki just basically followed up on what it did last
Oh
start.
my lord, lordy lord, though. Like, let's tell the truth. We're on the Zoom here as well, and I don't know about Curls, but certainly Roden and I think Roden, I certainly laid it just because why not at that price, and it was over pretty soon, wasn't it? Like, he settled perfectly. He just let this thing ease through its gears. And I think you might have said, Curls, it looked a bit green, like it could go better. And it could go better, and it hasn't been sort of asked for the ultimate effort. Is that what you're sort of thinking?
Yeah, look, I thought in run, position-wise, excellent, but I was just like, the tape front joints, and it's just like, is this horse looking like it's enjoying this surface? Because, I haven't gone back and looked at the tapes from the previous run, but it just, to the eye, it just didn't look like it was enjoying the firm Eagle Farm surface. And J-Mac didn't really do a lot on it, did he? Like, he just seemed just to piss in, like, comfortably, but I don't know whether he was that comfortable on the track, which sounds stupid because he's run a big figure. There's not a lot to take out of this race. Like, if you look at, I think if you go through the results, apart from Toffee Tongue, his hoof filler fell out in the run and got pulled up, we thought it might have broken down. You have a look at the results here and have a look at the horses that have finished in order. Like, Zaaki's beat Homesman, who we thought has, is he Australian Cup winner or whatever he was? He's won a good race. He Group 1 horse. He's ran second. Pars of Glory knocked off Zaaki a few back and it's run third. Brandenburg and Natoya, they're probably finished in order of
I think
where they sit,
It's not beaten much. I think Homesman's best work's behind him, but it's still not a big figure, and it's done it very easily.
Well, I don't care about talk of future bets and that sort of stuff as far as he's the best horse or is he in the top 10 2,000 metre horses, back and rah. He's done it. He didn't look comfortable to my eye. I don't train him, so I don't know, but I'm just saying he's done it easily. Homesman's a Group 1 Flemington winner, so he's a proper horse.
Mm.
And, the rest will just bash around in this grade and take it in turns. And he's super, and he's a class above them.
Agreed. Anything to add, Peter, there?
Isn't it just interesting, though? A horse that's now had 26 starts has seemingly gone to another level since arriving in Australia. And so we're talking about it winning a Cox Plate later this year, which will be start, say, 29-30.
It's a real feather in her cap because most of them come here and have one or two. Well, I suppose it's had the two. No, it's been in long enough. Have a couple of good performances, often just one, and then they regress badly.
Yeah.
So here's the question, I suppose, not that it needs answering, but are Australian middle distance horses complete dog shit and these Group 2, Group 3 Europeans just absolutely superior?
And
Annabelle. Annabelle a freak trainer?
Yeah, I think there's something in the European trainers are superior at training like middle distance horses. And we're superior at training like bull sprinters.
It would be interesting.
It's not the horses. So many of them regress.
Yeah,
they come out and blow you away, like the Cox Plate winner.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been asked of Sir Michael Stout, but I'd love to get his opinion in hindsight. Now he's seen his horse come out and win a Group 1 and completely kill a Group 2 field twice in Australia. I wonder if where he had him in his pecking order in the stable, so to speak. Anyway, that's for narrative discussions, which we don't obviously want to enter into here.
Don't want to get down that rabbit hole.
Exactly. Race 3.
But well done, Annabelle.
Yes. Race 3, Ayrton.
Tweeted post-race that this horse still looks like it doesn't know what it's doing.
This was the horse I was talking about last race, guys, if you worried what I'm saying. Oh, God. If you're paying any attention to what I'm saying, which you probably shouldn't be, I was trying to steer Curly into this horse. Because this horse killed him. This was J-Mac again.
Yep.
And it was Greenest Grass doing it. And why couldn't they give us a fair price off the flat performance last start for us all to have a bet here is my bigger
Wasn't it a fair price? I mean, it was $1.85 earlier in the day. And
$2.50. Just throw it up and get all the victims going early.
Yeah, but no one's putting up $2.50 on this horse.
I was hoping, we declared this horse to be backable and a bet next start. And we were hoping off that performance we'd get that SP. We talked about it on this show.
Yeah, but
and we didn't get that SP.
Isn't $1.85 backable for a horse that started at $1.50 in the previous start?
Yes.
Yes, it is. But I was just hoping for a bit of filth, Peter. All right.
It just goes to show, Jack, that no amount of bullshit narrative is going to determine an SP, because this horse got beat last start and everyone talked about the bubble bursting and the pop and why was it favourite for the Stradbroke. Shut up!
Well, it's run a figure that is, what is it? I'm not looking at it off the top of my head. It's 1.5 lengths off the Stradbroke figure, and it's done it green and was sort of not asked for an ultimate effort. So it would have gone pretty close in the Stradbroke.
We talked about this horse somewhere on straightening. Is like J-Max had to give this a reminder. So I remember we talked about this. He had to sort of shape. He was floating, this horse.
Mm.
So I thought it was floating. This horse is a future star.
Yep, and it's big thing too. Like a real nice type.
Mick Price mentioned about this horse that he thought that the further the better. You get up to a mile will be better. He sort of proved that the start before at Eagle Farm. I thought he was justified in his theory there. And then what we saw yesterday, regardless of what finished behind it, it's all about the figures that he ran and how he did it. And he's got plenty, and he's going to be a major player.
Yeah, for all the shit that we give the Queensland Carnival, like Ayrton and Zaaki will be two of the most exciting horses come spring in Australia, and they both race there on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there'll be so much narrative and yarn about Brooklyn Hustle, who also race there.
You know what the
and
best
then
thing...
Curly, we had to lay the fuck out of her when she does get to good races back in Victoria, where
she
9.5 times out of 10 it's on pace dominated.
She won't be liable because she'll be in the Everest and all them races, so she'll be 50s. So forget about it.
You know what the best part about Zaaki and Ayrton is? They're both geldings, so they've got nothing else to do than just run around in a circle.
Yeah, that is curious.
Yeah. The other big figure on the day was Knight's Order.
Wasn't that torturous? That was like a sort of slow death for us on the chat there. Like,
I don't know what to make of it. Now we talk about gun rides on leaders. Have a look at the sectional times on this horse from the 1200, from the 1200. Like ramping it up 1256, 1232, 1164, 1144.
Yeah.
6 to the 4. Completely put them to bed.
Perfect example. So if you do have punting form and you were trying to figure out what I was trying to articulate before, compare the sectionals of Kieran McAvoy on horse, whatever it was, and now go and look at Knight's Order in race 4. And on the left-hand screen of the race page, you can cut it down to 200-metre sectionals. It's exactly what we were speaking to.
I tried to go back and look at Vow and Declare's figure because I thought it ran in the Brisbane Cup in the winter and then went on to win the Melbourne Cup. But it was
a derby?
No, it was a 3,000-metre race of some description. Anyway, so it's very hard to... You can't compare them, I suppose. But... Look, he's ran a good figure. He stayed hard fence. If he had a lead and went to the outside, he's probably clocked the biggest figure of the day.
Mm.
It's
in inferior ground.
The sectional, the data doesn't lie. The sectional times back that up. Big win.
Backed up the previous start too, Curls.
Absolutely, yeah. This nice firm track front run and let them roll.
Okay.
There was only one other Group 1 on the card.
Oh, well, I was just going to ask, Curls, because there was a decent betting move for one horse in the race again, but we spoke about Converge after its last start and how you just had to be on it data-wise.
I think the only error I made here was I underbet. It was a big overlay at $3.30. I sort of could get it as low as $1.90 because I just couldn't find anything else that looks like it's going to stay.
Yeah.
What
did the market see in Port Louis? Because it was one of the biggest goes of the day at Eagle Farm. It was $4.80 into $3.10.
It wasn't the only Kieran Maher runner that was well supported on the day. Away game was heavily backed as well.
Yep, but this is probably the biggest.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not as if this horse had a map or anything like that.
No, I mean that's. I sort of penalised it for the map, and that's why I couldn't get it anywhere near where they were at. But I suppose everyone does things a little different, with how much they penalise horses and how much their maps influence their prices. But maybe that Sydney run or something, that the mile v Converge when he was probably a bit stiff, and then looking at the gap in prices between the two horses, maybe the big. I mean, and don't think for a minute that there's only one or two syndicates that are deciding SPs here. It's not fucking me and you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What did they see?
The gap closed, didn't it? Very late and significantly. Even though Converge was still very, very solid. Anyway, it's ran sixth. I was too busy cheering. I was too busy winning to concern myself where Port Louis was. But best horse won, I thought. But I'm not going to crow about that because the whole world was on it.
Question and answer time. There's been a couple of pretty decent questions actually this week, so we'll try and answer them as best as we can. Dickens?
2 emails we'll kick off with from Riley or Simo. I don't know if that's my dad, but I don't think it is. I've never really understood how a leader's track can become a thing. I get that the rail can be better ground, but shouldn't anything on the rail therefore have the same advantage? There's sometimes rail bias versus on-pace bias. How does that work? Cheers, Simo. He also had another one on the back of that, was adding on to this from a punting perspective, how do you identify the difference and then bet accordingly? Who wants to tackle that first?
On-pace bias, sometimes you'll see tracks where the best place to be is outside the leader, as opposed to being the actual leader. So you can get an on-pace bias where you just have to be in the first four and run and you can't make any ground. So, for instance, that might be the case when, say, lane 5 outwards in the straight is no good. So it's the first, or the reverse can also apply if, if there's a certain strip of lanes, but a narrow one, the first horses into those lanes will get the best opportunity to win. But the best way to identify it early is just to trust the SP and evaluate. If you see a 40 to 1 shot and a 60 to 1 shot run third and fourth, and they're both settled rails and run, and it's not a 2-year-old race or a staying race, you probably can start to suspect something.
Yep.
Don't mind it. I sort of use grey lead pencils that I have on hand quickly, and I'll often just get my little notebook and just scribble the SPs of the position in run of horses when I do a quick review of the race, because I think if I understand the question correctly, if it's leader bias track, why isn't behind the leader an advantage as well? And it doesn't always work out that way. So I think you hit the nail on the head there, Pistol. The SP is as good a guide as anything for that, and that's when you're adjusting on the day. That's when that's important, I think, because it's irrelevant after the meeting because you're too late.
I think you can make some. There's an edge to be had in articulating like the advantage in each individual race in a review, from a review point of view.
Yeah, I'm talking about on the day.
But it's not enormous, and then it's also irrelevant unless that horse that was not suited is therefore you believe is going to be suited in the next contest.
Yep, that's it.
But I think a large part of why biases happen, and this is just my opinion, so if you don't, I'm not trying to offend riders, and God bless Ben Mellum, who last night called the GWS Football Club and every player there gutless, and the West Tigers, which I love because that's his opinion, which he's entitled to. And this is mine about riders. I think a lot of them are sheep, and the way that they are stewarded from the moment they come into the sport. We've talked relentlessly about, an apprentice will be criticised for the X ride whenever they show some like a tiny bit of intent. That even if the track's on pace, which rider on which horse is going to be the one that rides their horse outside their pattern, and if that horse might be second up and the trainer, like we saw Henry Dwyer stable, they just gave under the tassels a barrier trial two ago in a bush maiden, and then they tried to win at Swan Hill on Sunday. So that rider was Alana Kelly at the previous start, and she wasn't. If she rode that horse with intent to the pattern of the track, she would therefore upset that stable and lose rides there. She might have thought we were not going to be able to win from here, and she'd be right, but the stable decided. So a lot of the stupid, brainless tactics aren't just from riders; they're probably more so from stables. Would that be a fair thing to say?
Yep.
Like Damien Oliver, Craig Williams, Mark Zara, D Lane, now Jamie Carr can probably do whatever they want. They could walk in and say, "Hey, Sheik," or Jamie wouldn't be able to, but the four blokes could go, "Hey, Sheik, I want to ride the horse like this," and they'd say, "Sweet." But Alana Kelly, Zach Spain, they can't go, "Hey, mate, I think you need to ride the horse like this." If they say no, then that's not going to happen. So, and then if it is an on-pace boss or rails and run boss, by the time they get into the straight, like Peter's saying, it might be lanes 1 and 2 and 3, which are good. So the outside lead is going to hold lane 2, but he's been in inferior ground for the whole way. He's going to slow down. Then one horse is going to get to lane 3, but then the other rails and run horses either have to lose momentum to get out and around, or they get no luck going up the inside. So it's all about lanes there in the straight.
Yep.
How that occurs is, I think, was part of the question too, doesn't it? Like, how does that happen?
Well,
artificial watering, sprinklers, track preparations, rail movements,
wind.
Yeah, there's so many variables. There's one track up here that the sprinkler heads are under the running rail, and when they go in their sprinkler patterns, it hits the running rail, so the inside gets more water. Hard fence gets more water than any part of the track.
And all those little bits of information are key, but what will then happen is you'll figure out a speed map and you'll bet accordingly, and then something else like that, the horse that you thought would be in the spot misses the start, or it's just part of the it's part of the sport. I identify it. Have you guys talked about how you'd identify it? You're talking about the SP curls.
I was just echoing what Pistol said originally. Yeah, like if you have a couple of races in a row where something at 50s runs a place and they've come at the same part of the track, and horses short in the market to come to the outside and haven't been able to run on.
Yeah. So I think so. So Sandown.
What about that Sandown on Saturday? It was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. But we were still decent horses could still make ground. Like we backed Comica to win race 3, but we had a bigger bet Bubbly last. I thought John Allen was a little bit cold on that horse, but that would have been tactics driven from the stable. This is where we want this horse put. And then John would have had to push on 3 wide, no cover, so he took a little bit of cover, 3 wide cover. It's a completely logical decision he made in run. The horse went good. I think when Chassis kicked up from the coffin, that's when I sort of stamped it as on pace. I think that's when the rest of them stamped it on pace. I think you can map post race map a race. You'll start to identify a pattern on a day, but every single distance is its own thing. Particularly at tracks like Caulfield, there's 3 chutes at Caulfield, for example. That's probably nailed that question enough.
Yep.
So.
What was the other one? Do you want to do the next email?
Yep. One more.
One more. Let me just find it. Oh, there's another one just come through right now. What's been the hardest concept? This is from David. What's been the hardest concept to get your head around that has improved your betting? Example, personally, not every winner was overs just before they jumped. I don't understand what he's saying there, David, but what's the hardest concept to get your head around, boys?
Losing.
Yeah, that's actually true for me. That even if a horse is like $6 in a $3, you are still favourite to lose.
Yeah, you're always favourite to lose.
And contemplate becoming okay with it was a great decision, well done, but you're still favourite to lose. So when you lose, don't throw the toys. I'll still probably.
Tell you what, I've given a bit of thought to lately. Now, I think I could be completely incorrect here. That the best wagering syndication have left the Australian market, and I just feel like that the market is nowhere near as efficient as once was because of it. And fuck them. Hashtag fuck the market.
Yeah.
Like, if I've done the work, I've mapped, I've done everything I possibly can, and I'm fucking taking $6 and it starts $7, who gives a fuck? Doesn't have any effect to me, nor should it, than the converse of I've taken 6 that started 5.
I think also when you start to do it as much as we do it, and I'm sure there's heaps of people watching it do, there is value in taking that $6 and switching almost completely off from that race. Like, my decision has been made, my bet is on, and then you can relax, and your mental health, and you're brighter and sharper because you're not just watching and adjusting.
Yeah, I completely understand the wisdom of the crowds about closing line value, right? And if you back overs consistently, you'll win long term. I get the math, right? What I'm challenging that thought process because I don't want to move with the crowd. I want to be contrarian. So I'm challenging that process by saying, what's the true SP now? If arguably the most influential / accurate / prolific winning betting syndicate's not in the market, and you've got others trying to emulate what they were doing, what is the right SP? Yeah. I hope I'm making some sense here. I'm talking about from my wagering, from what I do. And if I'm doing the same as everybody else, we're going to land on the same horse, and every horse we're going to back is going to be firm in the market. Yeah. And then if I'm sending my stuff out to 150 people and we're backing a horse at Dolby and it's not threes into $1.90, well, we're not betting enough because it's in a liquid market, right? So,
what do you think, Peter?
I think if you trust or you think whoever's putting up the initial prices has half an idea. So in WA, for instance, the WATAB has been reasonably consistent. I mean, there's still the occasional one that people perceive as being, wrong, but they only think that when the horse wins. I think if you trust the person or the bookmaker putting up the initial prices, that's probably not the worst starting point. And then you can evaluate what the SP does. But I completely agree. As you guys know, we often bet a lot of drifters in WA, and really there's maybe 2 stables that I would be concerned about if it got a real stinky drift. And that's a good point. That's 2 out of the entire state.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just about to say is I agree with Curly that it's a lot less important to me now than it was, but there's still stables and riders that I am petrified of or love the support for, but much more I don't care. And I was thinking another concept that really helped me was you have to map horses where they're favourite to be, not where they should be.
Yeah. Or where you want them to be.
Yeah, want them should be. And then you'll end up blowing up that they didn't go there, but they were probably always going to go where they went. So once I just accepted that, they are sheep and it's going to frustrate you, and you just sort of have a negative view to the map and don't the opposite of forcing it, I think that's helped me win.
Let's face it, if Waller's camp is largely dictated by barrier draws, and they're
that's exactly right. So how sheepish is that? Yeah. That's the biggest, most successful camp in Australia, and their speed maps are basically what barrier do we draw?
Yeah.
So don't try and oh well he's drawn 6 here and 4 back. He was drawing 3 and he did this. It's just it's a deep hole. It takes a while to get out of.
Yeah.
Indeed. Understanding the stables move is important. I think Jack touched on this last week where you said, where do we start? And this is why it's a great start to start in a small pool of horses and start to learn about jockeys and trainers as much as you are trying to understand horses.
Mm. Yeah.
There's some great examples of local trainers here in my area that have started to establish a very strong pattern of their horses run to Betfair.
Yeah. But also, you can set up your dynamic odds. So I'll have one of my layouts, which is predominantly Betfair related, but you can see the total amount matched. So there might be stuff going on and looks, this thing's out the gate. Well, like from 10 minutes to 5 minutes out, and then you're looking, there's been like $1,400 matched on that horse. Like, that's nothing. That's not an opinion. Well, wait till it gets serious. Then if it keeps going, then start to panic maybe. But
yeah. Well, yeah.
Any other questions, Pete?
No, I think that's...
I have one more, a very important one needs to be answered.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you give a horse an extra tick if they've been shaved down? That made me laugh because I was thinking of swimmers.
I don't know why, but I instantly just thought of some kind of event content we're doing and you shaving yourself down.
Yeah, I'm a chance to do that on the next stream. We'll see how much of an effect it has.
Imagine waxing you down. Wow. It's a very hairy organisation in the mailbag, really.
Especially when you throw Josh. Speak for yourself. I do have a little bit of personal care time every morning that I've dedicated in my routine. It's obviously a winter thing. Horses get a hairier coat in the winter as a rule. So particularly in those cold shithole climates like Victoria. No, I don't give them an extra tick. I do, although I did have one that pissed me off yesterday because it knocked us off, that thing of Henry's, the Channel 7 commentator that trains.
Unbelievable that.
On the side. He... or vice versa, sorry, you know what I mean. He had one that knocked us off that we backed yesterday, that was shaved down. So anyway, I don't, but thanks for the question. I thought it was funny.
I give them an extra tick if they have speed stripes sort of shaved into them. Not if they're completely shaved down, but if there's like a triangle or some sort of pattern, then I do.
Aerodynamic.
Exactly.
And Daryl asked if Sandown will be sold. I certainly hope not, but how would you know? Hang on, there was another email. Let's just do it because we would never do them all, and it's bad. I saw one. I'll do it. Luke. From Luke, g'day fellas. Wondering how you go about having saver bets or chopping out on runners, and whether this is based on market movers or an informed trainer, etc. Is this done to cover your original stake or to win a certain race? I spoke about my staking last week, where I'm betting to win a certain amount based on my assessed price. I don't do saver bets. I just bet to win what the thing tells me to do to my assessed price. If I want to back said horse, don't always want to.
I will have.
You're a big saver bet man, or much bigger than most of us, aren't you?
It's one thing that I've found that I feel comfortable doing because I'm like when I'm trying to say this politically correctly, is that sometimes the pool of jockeys that you bet into makes mapping races difficult. But if I have a couple of horses that are bets. On rated prices and then adjust map, and I feel that one map's better than the other, I'll back one horse and have something on the other one. It's I don't know, it's something I've always done and it seems to work. I don't know, just a thing, whatever. Probably should do a little bit more analysis on it, but the analysis I did do was okay, so...
Yeah, horses for courses for me personally. I still need to be getting an overlay, but there might be, maybe the map's a little bit more variable. It's like I think it will land in this spot, but there's every chance it doesn't. So I don't want to be having the full whack on, but I still have to respect it.
I suppose what's important, and I'm sure it's the same for you too. If you want to save a horse, say it's like if it's north of $30, I don't even think about it. If I've marked it 35s and it's 30s and I'm nervous about it because of any reason, that's a very small investment for my mental health. I'm more talking about horses sort of under $10.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm not saving anything that's double figures. Typically, they're always going to be winning results for me.
Yeah. All right, that's a deep dive. What's on this week? I don't even know where I'm betting.
Okay.
But please continue to support the team as we continue to provide you with accountable betting advice every single day of the week. Geez, Sunday was busy yesterday, wasn't it?
Yep. Still busy today.
Curly joined us for the first half overs totals. Isn't it a ride?
Betting
Like,
that
was your first go, right? That was 2 Sundays in a row. Mitchell Moses was 1 from 5 conversions, and then he did that to us yesterday. Kick off.
No, it was a good day on the sport and on the racing too. It was a nice little Sunday fill up. I'm looking forward to the weekly results. Geez, they must have been fat.
I think they are, aren't they?
Yeah. Anyway, week ahead for me. We're one step closer to the end of the carnival. God bless it. Doomben Wednesday, Sunshine Coast Friday. The Metropolitan Saturday meeting is at Ipswich this Saturday for Queensland, Ipswich Cup Day. Think of Geelong Cup, black slacks with white belts and white shoes.
And white sunnies.
Times it by 10.
Tattoos everywhere.
And then add a dash
Big
of Queensland redneck. Add a dash of Queensland redneck.
What sort of tins are they drinking?
There'd be a lot of Bundy rum tins.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so lots of fights. Please tune in and watch a race. Unless there's some kind of COVID restriction, the infield is normally just a tent, complete circus.
Oh fuck yes! I'm going to be like,
I'm
going to times 1.5 your units because I think Ipswich on a Saturday suits you better than even Doomben. I can't wait for that.
Last year we had a Travelator rail, so I'll be very mindful of that this week. At the same time, we've got Rockhampton is the provincial meeting, and Toowoomba Saturday night, and then Kilcoy Sunday. So once again, we've got a loaded week.
Outstanding week here in Victoria, like proper week. Beautiful, beautiful card today at Mornington where we're going to bet more than half the races. We'll look at Ballarat, but I doubt heaps then. But Royal Sandown Wednesday, grouse. Warrnambool, find a maiden or two there. Then Geelong Friday, Flemington Saturday, and Bendigo Sunday. Huge. Love those 3 tracks. Can't wait.
All your favourites right there. For the boys in New South Wales, Kenzo Wednesday, Wyong Thursday. Roden will be doing Kembla and Rose Hill on Saturday. Rob Scurry will be on course for Rose Hill on Saturday, obviously. And in Wester's Best Land, Belmont Wednesday, Northam Thursday. Belmont Saturday, and I'm millions to be betting at Kalgoorlie on Sunday.
He said that the other day, guys, and he still did. He's absolutely flying, Peter, and that's as close till we get at the mailbag to Dutch ruddering, but I've figured out what we could call it in the racing industry. It's a bubble bath, because we're all inside the bubble, yelling to ourselves, and many of us just scoop up our own bath water, and it's not really clear who's ruddering who, but everyone's ruddering someone.
I've lost count the amount of times I've got drunk on my own bathwater.
Oh, but we're talking into the bubble.
Yeah.
Bubble bath, Dutch ruddering, that's racing. Bye for now.